Good evening and welcome to Sonar Sport, your home of Solent Sport. I'm here today, I'm Samuel Williams, with me is Josh, and today we are here for an NBL League Division 2 game between the Solent Kestrels and the London Stars. You are now overlooking the Solent Sports Complex as we begin the second game of this double-header, in which the Solent Kestrels will be hoping to get their win today after the women's lost earlier on. Stream is brought to you by Sonar Events. I'm Samuel Williams. Just to remind you one more time, Samuel Williams here with Josh, and we are ready and excited for this second game. Josh, tell me a little bit about your feelings for this one. There's a packed crowd, there's cheerleaders here for the first time in the men's game. Tell me a little bit about your thoughts for this game coming up.
Yeah, there's a real buzz here at the Solent Sports Complex. Everyone's getting excited for this game. It's a really good crowd, as you said. The Solent Kestrels are going to want to avenge their loss earlier in the women's game. They're going to want to get a win here.
I mean, we talk a little bit about the record over the past few games. As we saw then, there was 4 wins in 5 games. Let's also have a look at the lineups. You got players like Russell Garibbi, Malcolm Song, Andre Arisol, Jakob Hoffman, Gabe Nyako, Issa Brandon, Gregoire Durand, Matt Hughes, Joe Lloyd, Jaden Dawes, Ryan Staines, Ash Briggs and Wayne Katinga, who is not with us for this game it seems today, with coach Matt Diamond. And as the players introduce themselves, we look to the London All-Stars lineups as we see Brandon Day, Vilius Kuzmiskas, Aaron Martin, Ryan Martin, Timothy Nkwankwo, Toby Ngonyende, sorry for my pronunciation, Jamari Seri, Cajas Silvesius, Joshua Smith-White, Nathaniel Sowar, Sauna Stikhalakis, and the other players that you saw below. It's so loud in this sports complex. We were talking a little bit about the atmosphere. What's that going to do for the London Stars going into that game? The mental edge and how it's going to affect their game today?
Yeah, it's absolutely electric in here, isn't it, Sam? And I think if you're the London Stars, you're looking at this crowd, this atmosphere, and you're wanting to make a name for yourself today. You're going to want to, impress them, silence them early, be aggressive from the off, and then claim this court as theirs.
I mean, you talked a little bit there right now about how they need to claim the court as theirs in front of this capacity per crowd. Does that pressure put an advantage or a disadvantage for the Kestrels going into this game?
I think it's a bit of both, Sam, because I think there is obviously going to be pressure on the Kestrels, especially with the women's loss earlier. They're going to want to avenge the crowd, make them happy. There's going to be noise in here. They're going to be cheering their team on. But at the same time, while there is added pressure, they want to, show off in front of home court, they're also going to have their fans who are going to be right behind them for that extra needed motivation.
I mean, we've also got some studded players in that London Stars team. I mean, we talk about somebody like Nicholas Zajankowski, if I'm saying that right, I apologise, who actually was part of the Great Britain team and has been part of European Championships at youth level. Seeing that kind of accolades behind somebody, I mean, we have players who have accolades in their background. You've got Andre Arisol, who was the NBL Defensive Player of the Year of this division. You've got players like Issa Brandon, who was part of that NBL All-First team. But looking towards, on the other end, a European level talent. I mean, talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, there's some serious star-studded players on this pitch today on the court. Kestrels, Issa Brandon, one of the most efficient players in the NLB2 division. Andre Arisol, the best stealer in the division, one of the best assisters in the division. Really strong guards, forwards on both teams. And then we go to the opposition in London Stars. They've got Ryan Martin, who averages 26 points per game. And then we have I'm going to try and say it, Zajankowskis, who I'm going to say. He is, a young 17-year-old Lithuanian British talent, 17 points per game, 36% for free, a really good player who could light up the court today.
Well, you surely know that you should start getting worried as a presenter when one of the players on the court who you should watch is younger than the presenters themselves. Trust me, we've already had that conversation. One more thing that I just want to jump into before we move over to commentary is the fact that you've got a bit of size on the other side. We noticed that as soon as the teams came out onto the court for the shoot-arounds. Talk a little to me about that and how the Kestrels have usually handled size in the past and how they can handle it today.
I mean, the Kestrels can really utilise their three-point shooting. That's one thing that they definitely got. They can kick it to the corner to Andre Arisol, who's a great three-point shooter. Brandon, as we said, very efficient. They could really utilise that. But at the same time, they're going to really need their bigs today because the size of the London Stars, they're going to utilise that. They're going to get rebounds today.
Yeah, absolutely. So with 2.5 minutes left until the start of today's game, the second game of the doubleheader, in which the Kestrels will take on the London Stars. Can the Kestrels maintain a good run of form at the beginning of the season? It is 4th versus 5th. The expectation is on the Kestrels here at the Solent Sports Complex, here being at home, here playing another team from London, and here hopefully to take the win. We'll move over to Riven and me on commentary. I will have to sprint up to commentary to join Riven up there, with Josh being on the commentary in the first game. And we'll hope that you enjoyed this game, and hopefully the Kestrels can come away with a win that will impact their season in a very positive way. Thank you.
Yes, very interesting matchup today with, as you said, 17-year-old on the court and one of the key players for this London Stars team. a number of young talents for London Stars include, as you said, Nojas Zajankowskis. I mean, Smith White's only 20, Seri's just 20, and Wanko's also only 18. So interesting to see how the Stars feature today with a very young core. And as you said, even though he's only 17, I mean, if I double check my statistics, yeah, Nojas Zajankowskis averaging 30 minutes a game, 18.2 points. Also, you've got to look at people like Ryan Martin, averaging 35 minutes a game with 26.8 points. I mean, young team, strong team, but as you can see, a small team today. Only, again, similar to the London Elite in the women's match, only 8 players lining up for the London Stars today, so it'll be interesting how they share the minutes tonight. Kestrels featuring the complete squad list, except Katinji's not on the lineups today. Malloy is, like Sustains and Sung as well. Interesting how they feature today. As you can see, the London Stars in the last final chat from their coach. As you can see, the young Zajankowskis on the right, number 99. Interesting to see how he features today, averaging 13 shots a night, 5 of them being threes, with a 36% three-point percentage. You'd be interested how he starts off today. He starts all guns blazing or starts just a little tentatively. Obviously a strong Kestrels side today. 4th versus 5th, as Sam mentioned downstairs. Sam welcomes me. I welcome Sam, sorry, up to the commentary box today.
Yeah, it should be an exciting game.
Yeah, a very interesting matchup, as you said. Very tall side in the London Star.
And now, as we move on to the tip-off, we'll have Briggs up against Nwankwo for the start of this game between the Kestrels and the London Stars. A packed out arena at the Solent Sports Complex.
Interested in seeing the differences in sizes between the two teams. You see Briggs matching up nicely against Nwankwo, but number 9 for Stars, Ryan Martin, also quite big, so interesting how the Kestrels match up against them tonight. Obviously Mr. Katinji, so interesting as Briggs goes up for the tip, wins it, and Brandon comes up with the ball.
Grippy will now start and passes it off to Aerosol. Good passing play from the 3 guards there. 3 of the main facilitators on the team, Issa Brandon, Grippy and Aerosol. Swinged over to Russell, 7 on the clock. Wide open 3 for Brandon to start the game, and the rebound from Russell Grippy for the offensive rebound. Aerosol now have it on the right-hand side, receives the screen from Briggs. Trying to find space, finds the switch, Briggs on the smaller man. Goes in, layup is good, and that's a good start for the Kestrels. Trying to push it on the inside, getting the offensive rebound. Good start from the Kestrels.
Yeah, great reverse layup there by Briggs. I mean, just using his size and using his little bit of edge and on the first quick step just to beat his defender. The defender there, Aerosol being patient and finding the open man. 2-point attempt there by Ryan Martin.
Aerosol now bringing it up the court, slows down the tempo a little bit as Grippy goes in for the driving lay, and the reverse lay is good. 4-0. as Struiger will bring up the ball up the court as he hands it over to Martin. Martin will drive on Durand, goes for it.
Blocked there by Brandon, just partially. I mean, just realised again that we've got brothers out on the court today, Ryan and Aaron Martin. Ryan being the larger of the two, as I say, Aaron just comes off for Zajankowskis, as you struggle to say down courtside, but I won't bat you too much for it because it's a very long name. A number of long names for Stars tonight. It's Grippy, corner three, just off iron. Stars come up with the rebound.
Martin will try and swing it down the court and will not find anybody as it goes out of bounds. Interesting to see the fact that if you look at the London All-Stars, they've actually got two bigs. I mean, you look at Martin and you look at Nwankwo as well. They've got two big players, and then you've got number 7 as well in Smith. It's going to be difficult for the Kestrels to try and push it on the inside. Do you think they'll look for more perimeter shooting on this one?
Yeah, as you say that, they just struggle to put a pass into the low post to Grippy, but they're going to have to use their speed. As we said for the women's game earlier, London Elite as well had two large players on the court, just using their size and made it difficult for the guards. A good pick and roll dunk there by Nwankwo. Great pass by Zajankowskis for the big man.
Hughes will now go on the screen on Martin. Kicks it out to Durand on the left-hand side. He brings it over to Garippi, who receives the screen from Briggs. Kicks it out. Aerosol trying to put the moves on. And Smith doesn't quite find it. 3 seconds left on the clock. And a foul will be called.
On Smith-White.
On Smith-White.
As I was saying up here while you were walking upstairs, a very young Stars team today. Smith-White, I believe, is 20 years of age. As we're, obviously, we mentioned Zajankowskis being younger than us, but we'll try not to bring that up too much.
Durand makes the bucket over Smith-White. Managing to make those easy twos on the inside in the low post. Zajankowskis. Bring it over to Nwankwo, back to Zajankowskis. He'll drive to the right. Finds Smith. Should I say, sorry, Martin. In the post. Post fade over Durand is good. Awkward looking post fade. And Garippi will now bring it up the court. Finds space with Martin on him. And Briggs in that post. Cut from Brandon. As Garippi receives the screen. And it's good.
Good off the ball movement there by Brandon. Just found the open space and the open shot, and good move mid-range there by Brandon.
Well, you saw with Brandon just then, he was trying to cut, and there's a big fall from Briggs, and it will be a Stars ball. But you saw the way that Brandon was cutting, and that created the space for Garippi to receive the ball, for then Brandon himself to move off and then find that open shot. It was good ball movement.
Yeah, great ball movement. Zajankowskis for the three, just long. Trying to show off his three-point prowess early here today.
Aerosol hands it over to Garippi, who hands it off to Isa Brandon, who will receive the ball back from his own attempted shot. Briggs at the top of the key looking for a pass. Tried to find Durand, and it comes off an All-Stars player, and it will be an inbound ball to the Solent Kestrels. Aerosol will take, and it'll be interesting to see, especially when you're looking at the beginning of the game, how will Kestrels respond on the inbound, as Brandon awkwardly tries to take a mid-range and passes out of it, decides not to, and, as it comes off Zajankowskis, and it will be another inbound to the Kestrels.
Good quick thinking there by Brandon, as I've done my maths, because we don't have tacticians on this broadcast. The 5 on the court for the London Stars, their average age is 21.6.
Wow.
And that includes Martin, Martin, who is 33. So he's bringing their averages up quite a bit, to say the least.
24-second shot clock violation called, or not, or no. Sorry, my apologies.
Distracted you with my tactical analysis or statistics, I should say.
Well, would that be would you say that would be more of a disadvantage or an advantage for the Stars?
I mean, it's interesting to see how the match plays out at the end of the day. I think it might hurt them towards the end of the match, but I mean, they are 4th in the league for a reason. They even have younger guys that they're not playing today. For example, Visokas being 15, and they've got another 17-year-old in Sinkavicius, who also is not here today. Oh no, he is today. He's on the bench for them as well. So sort of that, a couple of old heads in their squad today, but it might hurt them down the stretch towards crunch time if it gets in the clutch, but it'll be interesting to see.
Grippy hands it over to Briggs, who backs down in the post, and a nice hook shot.
Yeah, big man move by a big man player there by Briggs as Durand gets the steal picked up there, but a backcourt violation called there on the London Stars. Sort of tentative start here to the match. No flashy plays, but a couple of weird turnovers by both teams so far.
Just trying to find their footing into the game, trying to just ease into the game. Brandon now drives on the inside, tries to find the lay, and just off, no foul called by the referee. And it'll be kick out to Zajankauskas, who'll drive from the left-hand side, tries to lay up over Briggs, but the offensive rebound by Nwankwo will find the bucket. Yeah,
if we go back to the Brandon lay, I mean, it was great off the ball movement by Aerosol to create the space with the cut, but just unlucky there with the lay. It was one of those, it was contested. Great pass from Durand to Briggs. Great cut and great find there by Durand. Zajankauskas, if we go back to his previous play, was shot there by Martin, can't get it to go. Yeah, good off the ball, good statement of intent by Zajankauskas to drive to the basket. See if he can get the layup to go. Brandon, great looping move, can't get the layup. As I said, tentative is another turnover by the London Stars.
I mean, we talk about, me and Josh were talking about this before the game and about the last game that happened on this doubleheader. A lot of it can be about tempo and going back and forth, but sometimes that tempo can give up easy turnovers. I mean, we're seeing that a lot in the first quarter already.
Yeah, I mean, they're quick games of basketball in the NBL. I mean, especially in Division 2, we saw the women, but it's forced a lot of turnovers. And they're good defensive teams like Aerosol, we said, lead decent in steals as he shoots the three, gets it to go. He's also a pretty good three-point shooter on that. And yeah, I mean, great defensive teams, but also good offensive teams as Kestrels have an early 9-point lead in this first quarter with 4 minutes left.
Martin will now have the ball at the top. Hands it over to Seri, who will drive. Kicks out to Zajankauskas, who drives on the right-hand side, goes for the lay, and the soft touch at the end just manages to get the layup over the overload on the inside from the Kestrels.
That man is, well, he's not even a man. He's 17, and Aerosol shoots a three, but he's 17, and I think so the fact that he's playing NBL Division 2 early minutes as well is
shows great promise for the future.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he plays the under-16 in the FIBA tournament, the Great Britain in the European Championships. I think he got 10 points a game there, so shows his sheer ability at a young age, and he's playing 30 minutes a night for these lot in a team that are 4th in the league, so and averaging 18 points a game, so shows his skill. And obviously, as I said before the game, he can shoot threes, and if he gets going, he'll continue shooting them if he doesn't make them. He's 30% from three, 36% I think specifically, but Dawes has now come on for the Kestrels.
And Seri will now bring the ball on the left-hand side with Martin, the brother, coming on as well. Hands it over to his brother with Dawes guarding him.
Ryan
back
to Aaron.
Over.
Good play there by the brothers in Ryan and Aaron. You wouldn't imagine those two are brothers considering the size difference and completely different basketball ability on show there today, but they are apparently.
Well, they could have a brotherly and telepathic little bit of pass and play at times, couldn't they?
To be fair, I don't even know if they're brothers. I'm making that assumption. They might not be brothers. Their last name is Martin. Who knows? Who knows?
Martin will line up for his only free throw after the and one bucket, and a scramble. Despite the scramble, the Solent Kestrels will have the ball on the inbound as Durand will inbound the ball over to Aerosol. Aerosol will now bring it over and kicks it over to Durand with Martin guarding him. Lloyd, Dawes at the top of the key, hands it over to Aerosol. Aerosol pump fakes on the right-hand side, Lloyd. Now Hughes Tries to find Dawes, but a strong defensive effort from the Stars. Hughes from the mid-range, no good. And it will be the 24-second shot clock violation as another youngster for the London Stars comes on in
Sinkavicius. He's also 17. If you didn't feel old already, you will now. It's 217? No, just one 17-year-old. Replaced one 17-year-old with another.
And my mistake, Hughes was actually fouled on that mid-range shot as he will go to the line for 2 and hits the first.
Well, in all that, all the jokes we try and make here, we've completely forgot Joshua Smith-White, formerly being a Kestrels player for a year, sorry. Welcome back to the Solent Sports Complex, Smith-White.
Lloyd for 3 on the right-hand side, off. But Durand collects the rebound. Good effort on the offensive rebound from the Kestrels.
Yeah, they need to be showing intent today. Arsel goes up for the layup, just out. Good board again as we bring them up. Great board again by Hughes, and just when they are undersized, using the slightly taller players they do have, like Hughes, just a little tip-ins, little rebounds here and there, just to help the team along in the game.
Free ball, and Sinkavicius has that free ball in the corner. It's now 18-13 with 2 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter. Kestrels doing a good job on the boards, finding the shots on the inside. Had a 3 or 2.
Weak screen there by Dawes. Arsel sort of tried to play the pass round the back there as he gets substituted off for Russell Gerapi, and Greg Durand will sit on the bench. And Malloy will come on. Quite a rotated 5 on the court for the Kestrels at the moment, showing their depth, and just interesting to see how a 5 that we don't really typically see that often on the court together.
Sinkavicius blocked by Lloyd, and Lloyd will bring it up the court. Few players on, and Lloyd goes coast to coast, and it's a good lay, a strong layup from Lloyd for the Kestrels. A substitute making his mark on the game. As the Stars will bring it down now, Martin. Step back 3, off. Rebounded by Seri, and count it.
And the foul there by Gerapi, I believe.
Energy on the offensive boards, but as we saw right there, could have been more energy on the defensive boards, don't you think?
Yeah, defensively, I think they sort of switched off for a second, got caught up in the energy of the game, and sort of struggled to beat him to the board, and sort of switched off the game as a whole and let him get the board, and obviously Gerapi committing the foul in the end.
Gerapi now bring it up, passes it over to Hughes. The dribble hands off over to Lloyd, but the attempted steal by Martin will not go through as Gerapi collects the ball. 10 seconds left on the clock. Gerapi receives the screen by Dawes. Behind the back move. 3-pointer, off balance, no good. And a scramble for the rebound as Dawes goes to the ground to get the ball. Kicks it out to Lloyd. Back over to Dawes on the inside. No good. Good energy.
Dawes kind of made it more difficult than it had to be there. I think if he went with his right hand rather than his left for the pound dribble, it could have worked better, but he got forced into a tough shot, and Malloy just missed from 3 there as the Kestrels get the ball back from the inbound, but Kestrels keeping the momentum on the offensive boards, and quite a strong quarter from both the teams really. Obviously 20-16, quite a high scoring quarter for NBL Division 2. Especially the first quarter between very contested teams. Sorry, Karen. No problem.
Hughes will have it at the top. Spin move on Sinkavicius. Dawes, no good. Blocked by a couple of players. Now Seri will bring it down the court, hands it over. Seri receives it back. Good moves on Dawes. Another kick out. And it's stolen by Malloy as Gerapi will try and bring it down to the other side. Tries to reset the play and just slow things down as we edge towards the end of this first quarter. 7 seconds left on the clock. Martin guarding on him. Tries to put the moves, goes on the inside, and the lay is good. And a good way to end that first quarter for the Solent Kestrels. as it is now 22 to 16. A good performance in that first half from the Solent Kestrels, don't you think, Riven?
Yeah, a good first quarter as the Ravens head out onto the court for their end of first quarter performance.
And that was your very own Solent Ravens for the Solent Kestrels. One of our very own. A nice little performance there in the little break between the first quarter and the second quarter. As we move over, the coaches are talking. What do you think the coaches are going to be saying to that Solent Kestrels team after that first quarter?
Yeah, I mean, interesting first quarter there by the Kestrels. A couple of tough turnovers, but ultimately came out the victors in the first quarter, 6 points up, 22 to 16. I mean, interesting how it goes into the second quarter. Obviously, as we keep mentioning, London Stars, the smaller team today, will struggle to change momentum, especially when you can't really change the team that much off the bench. So it'll be interesting to see how, as you said, I think the coach for the Kestrels, Matt Garman, I mean, I'd say keep doing what you're doing. Try and make the right choices. Aerosol's made a couple of silly turnovers, but Briggs using his size inside with the 6 points so far. Good share of the points so far. Multiple Kestrels players on 2 points, 3 points, 4 points and 6 points like Briggs. As the London Stars will start the second quarter.
It'll be Zajankauskas who will start with the ball and kicks it out to Martin. Top of the key. Passes it over to Striega. Nice bit of passing play from the London All-Stars, but good read from Malloy.
Malloy, great read there, great defensive play, and just helping out his teammates there on the defensive end.
Garippi at the top of the key, just scanning the floor, looking for the movements. Briggs makes the movement. On the inside over to Briggs. Doesn't quite make the lay from the pass from Issa Brandon, but good interception by Issa Brandon at half court as he brings it up, passes that over to Lloyd. The confident three-point shot. Pull of the shirt in there, but no call by the referee as Issa Brandon receives the ball. Lloyd at the top, again goes for the free. No good, but good confidence from free to take those wide open shots.
I mean, he's a younger player coming off the bench for the Kestrels, and he's been given the minutes. He needs to show why he's got them. And a statement of intent to say, I'm here, I'm going to keep shooting it. As Zajankauskas also showing age is just the number, 17, and great floater there by him.
Garippi hands it over to Issa Brandon. A nice little behind the back move. And that dominance on the inside from Briggs must be really helpful for the Kestrels as he swings it over to Garippi, tries to make the lay over Martin, but the offensive rebound again from Issa Brandon. Tussle in the air for the ball. Doesn't quite get the ball as the Stars will receive the ball back.
Yeah,
and having that inside presence like Briggs, sorry to cut you off, but having that inside presence like Briggs, I mean, there's been a lot of times where they've passed the ball on the inside and then he's kicked it out to players like Lloyd who have confidently taken those threes. And it's clear that that's maybe where the coach wants to go with this team potentially. Yeah,
I mean, Briggs is drawing one of the big defenders over onto him, which means players like Garippi can make a great cut to the basket. And although it didn't work out perfectly there for the Kestrels, with Garippi missing the shot, but he found the space in the cut and got the shot, and they're going to keep doing it, drawing the 11 in Wanko away from the basket. Great block from Striega on Issa Brandon. It'll be a Kestrels ball.
And be Aerosol to inbound the ball here. Finds Briggs on the inside, the quick layup, good. Again, the big man presence on the inside is proving to be quite an offensive juggernaut for the Solent Kestrels. As Zajankauskas will take on Garippi, passes it on the inside to Martin. And Martin will go up and does not make the bucket, but there will be a foul called. And you notice on the defensive settings, you've got 2 on the inside and 3 on the outside. Talk to me a little bit about what the Kestrels are trying to achieve with that zone there, Riven.
Yeah, the 3-2 zone is useful to limit outside scoring, but at the same time inside, trying to accommodate 2 bigs doesn't always work with the 2 in the zone at the bottom. I mean, when you've got 2 bigs, they're going to draw them away from the middle, which creates space that everyone cut into the basket, which means there can be a clear lane in between the 3 defenders on the outside and the 2 bigs in the middle. Didn't work out perfectly for the Kestrels, but they like to flirt a little bit with different zonal systems defensively, as the cheerleaders not making the most difference on that free throw there.
Martin will step up for his second free throw, hopefully trying to make it good from the line. And makes it good from the line despite the efforts of the Ravens cheerleaders on the sidelines. And Aerosol now bring it down on the left-hand side. Puts the moves on Nwankwo. Durand over to Aerosol, receives the screen. Issa Brandon, 8 seconds left on the clock. Issa Brandon with Struiga guarding him. The mid-range shot. Unlucky, but another rebound again, another offensive rebound. The pump fake from Aerosol kicks it over to Issa Brandon, who drives on the inside, no good on the layup. Another offensive rebound, and Briggs finds it on the inside. Now in double digits in his scoring. The Kestrels now leading 26-20.
Yeah, Briggs showing his presence there as Zajankowski's great defense there by Durand, but yeah, great move by Briggs just to show his size inside. And even though Martin keep getting the switch on the small defender, Briggs comes across to help and almost forces a turnover there from Martin. But Briggs really posing a threat offensively in this match.
And Zajankauskas will now line up to take the inbound ball, gives it over to Martin, who he receives a screen from, and the whistle is blown.
Zajankowski stepped out of bounds, I believe, there before he received the ball. Well, as he received the ball, sorry. We're inbound into Aerosol, and the Kestrels get us back underway.
Aerosol will now bring it up. You can see the off-ball movement from Briggs. They're trying to keep an eye on it as best they can, the London All-Stars, as Briggs is at the top of the key, hands it over to Aerosol. His three-pointer, bang! A confident step up for the three-pointer as they extend their lead to 9. Yeah, Zajankauskas will now try to bring the ball up, sorry, as you were saying.
Yeah, great off-the-ball moment there by Aerosol, drawing the defenders away, setting great screens and dummy screens and ghost screens, sorry, and just waiting for Brandon to cut to the middle, getting a screen from his teammate and just getting the space on the 3. That's all he needs, that tiny little bit of space, just to let it fly. And as you said, bang. I mean, great shot there by Aerosol and getting it to go once again for his second 3, I believe, of the match so far.
And Aerosol will now hopefully inbound the ball as a substitution comes on for the Stars. In fact, Seri comes on for the young Zajankauskas.
Did I mention that he was 17? I don't know if I have yet.
No, I don't think we've mentioned that at all, Riven. I think it's an interesting fact that the viewers at home are absolutely
If we didn't hear it the first time, he is 17. Seri, not as young, but I'll stop my procrastination and you can carry on with the commentary.
Briggs will find himself at the top of the key with 12 on the clock. Passes it over to Garippi. Garippi tries to put the moves on Seri. Behind the back move, passes it on the inside to Durand. Questionable foul, but no foul called as Struiga receives the ball. But a good steal, another turnover by the Stars, and good effort from the Kestrels as Durand, he shoots from 3. 12 now for the Kestrels, and they might need a timeout on that one, the London Stars. Talk to me a little bit about that passage of play, River.
Yeah, that was Aerosol. Since hitting that 3, he's got his feel back for the game despite missing a 3 earlier in the match after his first made one. But great defensive play there, getting the steal, forcing the pass to Durand, and I mean, it was a great shot. Like you said, I mean, 12-point lead, 6 minutes left in the half. I mean, Matt Guyman must be completely great. Really happy with that performance as the Ravens continue their great performance once again on the sidelines with their basketball invitation.
Well, we're seeing a lot from the Kestrels, especially in this game, is that what they're trying to do is do a lot of modern basketball, a lot of spacing, and try and focus a lot of their offense through the free ball or the layup. Do you think the London All-Stars are going to, the London Stars, should I say, sorry, will catch on to that a little bit and maybe try and force them to take maybe more tougher shots, like the mid-range that's not so much common in nowadays?
I mean, it'll be difficult for the London Stars to get back, as we said. I don't know if we mentioned this, but it's a young team. But they're going to struggle to come back into it mentally. I mean, excuse me, the London Stars, obviously being a younger team, will try and find it more difficult, to get back into the game mentally and struggle to overcome the adversity they've had so far, being 12 points down. But I think the Kestrels, being such a large squad, will continue their rotation, continue the momentum, and just hopefully for them run away with it. But it all depends on the rest of this half so far, with 6 minutes left.
As Riven said, 6 minutes left of the second quarter. The Solent Kestrels leading the London Stars by 12 points, 32-20. As Martin will now inbound the ball after the timeout. And hands it over to Seri as we get underway again. Seri kicks over to Shuiga, back to Seri on the top. Tries to provide and give as much space to the Stars' offense as possible. Shuiga will find Martin on the inside, tries to make the layup over Issa Brandon, and it's good.
Yeah, Brandon tried his best to try and play help defense there to get the block, but nothing he could really do when Martin's the larger player there, as they field their two big lineup once again, as Brandon finds the space inside, goes for the lay. No foul call, but doesn't need it as he finishes the close range shot anyway. Great lay there by Issa Brandon.
Fantastic layup there from Brandon as Seri on the inside finds, and Wankwo, he receives his own rebound and finishes it off for the second chance make. Maybe the only thing you could say about the Kestrels so far is maybe just the second shots after their own shot, just the second chance points sometimes.
Yeah, they're struggling with it a little bit, but I mean, as long as they keep momentum up and keep making their shots, they won't have too much issue with it. But yeah, as you said, second chance points is something they actually play well play well with at home. Do the Solent Kestrels, getting the second chance points, but obviously with Briggs coming off now for Dawes, they don't have as big of a lineup, but Dawes will do a solid job at the centre position, but no Katinji on the bench today. But Dawes did play very well last week, and as the primary centre, and hopefully for him he can continue that form at that big position despite being slightly undersized compared to the other players on the court today. Brandon's second free throw is also good. Back to a 12-point lead for the Kestrels.
Seri will now bring it down the court with Brandon guarding him, and receives a screen from Smith-White, former Kestrels player himself. Tries to put the moves on Brandon, tries to drive. No travel called as the Euro step is good. And Aerosol will now bring it back, trying to return the favour of his own. As he puts the moves on Seri, drives, gives it over the Dawes. Energy of Dawes gives it over to Issa Brandon. A nice pump fake, hands it in the inside to Dawes again. Doesn't quite make the layup.
Great ball movement there by Dawes, and great presence inside, but couldn't get the hook to go. I mean, foul called there on Aerosol. I think he knew it too, but his first foul of the day.
And one thing that I've noticed about the London Stars is that they're not afraid to let their bigger men and their team carry the ball down the court and just allow themselves to facilitate and allow them to just, I mean, you see players like Martin who and also looking at Nwankwo as well. Usually they'd be players that you'd want on the inside and you'd want getting the offensive rebounds, but funnily enough it's going the other way around, where the bigger players are the facilitators, and actually the players that are getting the offensive rebounds are players like Seri actually. What do you think about that, and how do you think the Kestrels can combat that?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to get their players different touches on the ball. They're almost playing that style of basketball when you're playing in PE back in primary school, secondary school, where you have to make 5 passes before you score, and they're passing to the big men first, and they're the ones driving to the basket rather than the typical point guards. Or the other way around, where the point guard's driving to the basket, but the big man stays there under the basket, getting the second chance point guard you brought up earlier. Be interesting how, yeah, like you said, Kestrels having to combat that. is a tough one because Briggs is on the slower end as a defensive player. Dawes might be a bit quicker, and probably why Matt Gunn brought him on to stop Martin driving to the basket a bit more. But they definitely will struggle with it, especially now only an 8-point lead. It'll be interesting to see how they combat that first.
And as you said on the transition as well, they're trying to get as many transition points as you can because they all add up in the end, all of the points, and especially transition points. They're quick and they're easy, and if you can find them, they're good. And they're finding quite a lot of those, especially even second chance points, missing the original shot and getting the rebound for a second one on transition.
Yeah, they're getting enough defensive rebounds where they can push ahead through the fast break and get the second chance points on the layups or the mid-range shots, whether that be through the big men or the point guards themselves. And sort of just pushing the pace a little bit to the Kestrels, who also, as well as the women earlier, like we mentioned, also like to push the pace and break on the fast break, as second free throw is also good there by Smith-White.
And Aerosol will begin with Solent Kestrels offense and hands it over to Hughes. An attempted steal by Smith-White. A nice spin move, doesn't quite find the shot. And once again, another rebound by Martin as he carries up the floor. Swings it over to the corner to Seri. And out of bounds, as it will be another turnover from the London Stars. Happened a couple times where they've stepped on the line.
Yeah, I mean, just switching off as they receive the ball. It's easier to do now with the netball lines on the court, but just how it goes at the end of the day. I mean, you have to stay aware. You have to stay aware when you receive the ball and know where you are on the court. It's just that court presence and the state of mind to know where you are and make the right pass, or make sure you stay inbounds when you receive the ball ultimately.
Aerosol now receive a screen from Dawes, finds Dawes on the inside, and he is fouled by Zajankauskas.
His third foul, I believe, already in this game.
Maybe a little bit of over-exuberance, maybe a bit of over-excitement at the fact that he's playing this game and that he's so young, or do you think maybe he might be used for the pressure because he's played at a FIBA level?
I mean, he's inexperienced in terms of age. However, he does average 30 minutes a game. Even though he's on the younger side, he might get a little hot-headed. I mean, it's one of them where you have 3 fouls. He didn't need to commit that foul, and 3 fouls before the half. We reached the second half is a tough break for him. But yeah, Brandon with the mid-range just off. Dawes fighting for the rebound, can't get the ball though. And they can't get the offensive boards once again.
Martin will fake the handoff over to the other Martin as he backs down on Hughes, tries to find the mid-range shot, and reckless scramble from the Kestrels. A lovely pass from Aerosol, and Durand slams it home.
Yeah, Dawes just flying in on a defensive rebound. Couldn't get it though, but great pass, as you said, to Aerosol, from Aerosol ahead as a travel call there on Martin, and the momentum falling towards the Kestrels team as they're now 9 points ahead as they make a couple of subs. Aerosol actually coming off there for Garippi. Briggs comes on for Dawes.
And Issa Brandon will now begin the offense for the Kestrels and gives it over to Garippi instead. Hughes on the right side. Briggs, once again, Briggs facilitating for that Kestrels side as he hands it over to Hughes. 10 on the clock as Durand drives. Layup is good. The flush is nice. And Martin will now bring it up the court.
Yeah, sort of Martin playing that as a point guard, despite being a very tall man. He's trying to go behind the back, and Durand staying with him here. Interesting matchup here for Durand. Martin using his size, but can't use his speed to his advantage. Smith-White tries to break to the basket, but can't get to go. Durand on the fast break. Can't find Brandon, and Struger will intercept it.
Struiga will now bring it up. On the inside, swings it over. Back to him. Receives a screen from Nwankwo. Passes it over. And the foul is called. It'll be a Stars 2 at the line.
Yeah, difficult one there for Brandon. Didn't need to do it, but his second foul of the game. I mean, but over the back of him, didn't need to do it. It's caught his hands. It's one of them where got too eager, and tried to get the ball. His first free throw bounced off there by Smith-White.
I mean, also, we talk about the fact that the Solent Kestrels have got a very strong defensive side. You've got players like Andre Aerosol who have been Defensive Player of the Year in this league before. But a lot of the capability of the defence from the Kestrels is actually their perimeter defence. And what I'd actually say, as the score has now been cut down to a 10-point differential, is that it's actually the interior defence that's actually been strong for the Solent Kestrels. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, Briggs and Dawes have both put in a good shift, and even then Durand has done well with the big matchup he's got at the moment, and obviously big team in Stars, London Stars, they've done well defensively against the bigger team, and just make sure they switch quickly and efficiently so you don't get too many mismatches on the inside. The Kestrels ball, but a timeout called by the Kestrels.
And 1:30 left on the clock. You know, Kestrels are leading 10 points. Why would just try and talk to me a little bit about the mindset of the coach and the mindset of the players? Why would you call a timeout with 1 minute 30 left when you know that there's going to be a half-time and you know that you're leading comfortably? Why would you call a timeout now?
Mainly because you've got one to use compared to the other team. When London Stars call one and you've got one to spare, you might as well use it 1:30 left to get the momentum back going before the second half, and ultimately try and sort of get the momentum to swing your way before the second half starts. So that way, we saw in the women's game earlier, that sort of made and actually ended up breaking the Kestrels match. Was they ended the first quarter poorly, then the second quarter the lead went towards the London Elite more, and then got carried away with the win. And I mean, London Stars will hope that that doesn't become the case where the Kestrels run away with this win, but for the Kestrels, they'll be loving life right now. They're on top of the world. They're 10 points up. They're going to continue their streak in this game and try and push momentum into the second half.
And the players will now return to the court with what seems to be 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
And the timeout, Kestrels, 12 seconds on the shot clock.
And with 1:37 left on the clock, we'll see whether they want to take a conservative approach and try and just keep their lead going into half-time, or maybe even go further and try and expand that lead. As Malloy gives it to Garipi for the mid-range, too short. Striegel now on transition over to Seri, who goes up with the right-handed lane. It's good. Good finish by Seri.
Yeah, great finish there. Just getting the other side of Garipi and Durand and just beating the defenders to the basket.
Garipi will now swing it over to Briggs. Finds the nice pass over to Durand, but not quite accurate enough, and it will be a Stars ball. 1 minute 9 seconds left on the clock. Briggs has been a very important facilitator for this team, really trying to push the momentum towards the Kestrels. He's also the leading scorer. Talk to me a little bit about that, Riven.
Yeah, good backdoor cuts from the guard specifically means he can sort of become that pivot role in the middle, and just everyone can work off of him as he plays good defense around Wankwo and almost gets the flick over to Aerosol, but it's poked away there. Briggs, tough defense, and foul called there on Briggs, and 2 free throws to come. But yeah, as I was saying, Briggs just being tough on defense there, and ultimately offensively just sort of becoming that pivot role in the middle of the post, and just everyone working around him, sort of making cuts behind, making cuts in front, and they can make cuts either side of him too. So he sort of becomes that middleman, and then everyone works off of him.
Do you think that role becomes more important, especially with the absence of Katinji from today's game?
Yes and no. I think Katinji wouldn't necessarily play like that. I mean, he's more of a downhill sort of ground and pound type of guy, where pound dribble there, pound dribble the other way, hook shot sort of player. Briggs plays that pivot role a lot better, mainly because he keeps his head up a bit more and finds the open pass.
Gurpio now pump fake, and attempted steal by Shariga, and the ball goes out of bounds, but it will be a Kestrels ball with 13 seconds left on the clock. Only 22 seconds differencing the shot clock from the main clock.
Timeout, London Stars. Kestrels couldn't quite get the ball off in time.
As Sam makes his way down to court side. Ready for a quick half-time report. Kestrels with a slender lead here at the end of this second quarter and the first half. Just 6 points, 33 seconds left on the clock. Kestrels hoping that the end of this first half is just a good, smooth operation into a win by the end of the match. Stars head back out onto the court, as well as the Kestrels. 33 seconds left on the clock.
Coach Pierce Massillon using his second time out of the quarter and a half to draw up a play for his London Stars side.
As the Stars draw up a play off of their timeout. Right, Martin with the three. Briggs gets the rebound, tries to pass ahead to Arshaw, but turnover there. There's not much differential between the shot clock and the normal and the clock as Arshaw marking Martin. Over to Seri. Struger on the right hand side. Back to Seri. Over to Martin again. Great defense by the Kestrels players. Tipped up and out as it hits Durand in the face. He falls to the floor. Kestrels will go into half time with a 6-point slender lead. As we have a quick half-time report by both Sam and Josh before we head to the Ravens at half-time. Kestrels looking to extend their lead in the second half as I head down to Sam and Josh for your half-time report.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Solent Raymond. Is there a Ben Clark here today? Over there. Everyone wish Ben Clark happy birthday. It's his 50th birthday today. And I'm told by your daughters that you're a cheerleading fan. So they would like you to come and have a go if you'd like to. Where is he? He's in the toilet. Oh, I'll wait till he comes back. So you, Ben Clark, happy birthday to you. I'm told that you're a massive cheerleading fan. So, within the next 2 quarters, your daughter would like you to have a go. So at any point, they've got their pom-poms ready. If you want to join in, feel free. But happy birthday.
Hello and welcome back for the second half of the Solent Kestrels versus the London Stars clash, where the Solent Kestrels lead the London Stars by 40 to 34, a 6-point differential in this NBL Division 2 South clash. Talk to me a little bit about your first half thoughts, Riven.
Yeah, an interesting bag, to be honest. I mean, as we said, it's a young team for the London Stars, but it hasn't really phased them too much. A couple of silly fouls here and there for them through, just refresh on the name, Zajankowskis, as you struggled to pronounce in the first half. But yeah, 3 fouls for him in that first half. Not many points from just the 4, but as a team, they're only 6 points down away from home, obviously a long trip down from London. So I think they could do better in that second half. It's just a matter of fact of just sort of matching the energy of the Kestrels and staying with them on defense and see how they fare in the second half.
Going into that second half with a little bit more of detail, I mean, it was a very fast tempo game. There was a lot of transition buckets, a lot of transition defense needed, which sometimes when you have a little bit of tempo where it goes back and forth and a lot of early shots are taken and where offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds become a big part of the game, of course fouls is going to be a big part of that. Second quarter alone had 8 fouls, 4 shared between the two of the teams. And as this game gets closer towards the end of this game, do you think it's just going to get really, really heated?
I don't know if it'll be as heated as last week's game, as we saw. Last week's game was very heated, to say the least. But as the team comes out for the second half, I think if the fouls keep coming, the final quarter will be very interesting if it's a close game, and obviously teams going into the bonus and whatnot. So as the teams line up for the second half, people inbound the ball. But yeah, fouls is definitely a worry for both teams if fouls aren't given each way by the referee.
And Briggs will now begin with the ball at the top of the key, and a lot of off-ball movement as he holds it with Martin guarding him. Issa Brandon now receives the ball, puts the crossover, goes for the floater above Martin, doesn't quite get it. The offensive rebound, kicks it out to Aerosol. His three-pointer, good from the corner. And that gives a 9-point lead, a very strong start from the Kestrels in this second half. Yeah,
Brandon unlucky to get the floater to go. I mean, good ball movement out to the corner to Aerosol. And as I mentioned, he lets it fly and it'll come down crashing into the basket. I mean, possible travel call there on Martin, but nothing called by the referee. But yeah, Aerosol continuing how he ended the first half with a nice 3 to go and extending the lead. Kestrels a turnover there. Stars will push ahead, reverse layup, can't get it to go. Briggs fighting for the rebound. Fighting for the rebound. 3-pointer, can't get it to go through Sugar.
And as we said before, this tempo is going to continue into that second half, it seems, as Briggs hands it over to Durand. Durand will try and put the Euro step moves as he is fouled, and he will go to the line for 2.
Yeah, nice attention to detail there by Durand. Good slow step on that first one into the second, waiting for the defender to move himself and sort of bait the foul through the from the defense there, and yeah, good move there by Durand, and all started from that fake dribble handoff from Briggs and then dribble handoff over to Durand and setting that screen, getting the switch, and a good move there by all around from the Kestrels. The first free throw is good.
And as Durand makes that first free throw, going into the second half, I mean, we talked about this last week when the Cobham Cobras game. It's going to be so important to make those free throws, to take advantage of every foul, not just to allow it to be something that stacks up in the numbers, but also make use of it in that win.
Yeah, I mean, free throws are an important part of basketball, especially in Division 2 NBL. Especially, even in the women's game earlier, we saw free throws are a big part of the game, and if you miss them, you miss them. And if you make them, you bring your team back into the game. But Durand hitting 2 important free throws there.
Seri fouled, and it's going to be 2 at the line from the foul from Rossi Garippi.
Bringing fouls up, 2 early fouls, a minute and a half in, a foul each on both teams. And that's the second on Garippi. Brandon also with 2. Durand actually has 11 points in this game already. An interesting statistic there. Not the most highest of scorers in the Kestrels team typically, but getting it done today.
Apologies, as it won't be 2 from the line. It'll be an inbound as Martin backs down onto Durand. More zone defense, Stewart, and it's Struiga way off with the 3-point attempt.
Yeah, it wasn't as much of a zone defense, more just double help defense and coming from both sides there. Made to limit Martin's scoring here today, especially considering he's got 6 as the big, doing his work inside and getting his switch consistently. Just that help defense helps the team as a whole and sort of limit the points from Martin. As a turnover there and a dunk by Seri. Cheek turnover given away by the Kestrels.
Garipi bounce pass over to Brandon on the left-hand side. He swings it all the way over to the right to Durand. And if you notice, we looked at not just that play that just happened just then, but the play beforehand with Briggs. You saw Martin get up close on Briggs. They're looking to make the turnover off Briggs because they realise he's the facilitator as the big man as well as the presence on the inside.
I talked in the first half about him being that pivot role in that middle. As long as they stop the that pivot role being used and working off of him through dribble handoffs and whatnot, it then limits the Kestrel scoring as a whole. And just as I try and get that out, Aerosol with that nice dribble move, pound dribble move to bait his defender into the air and sort of get that space in the mid-range. Good poke away there by Aerosol to go on the fast break through Durand, who finds Aerosol. Shoot the 3. Just short. Aerosol finds the rebound. Durand gets it. Can't get the layup to go. He's hurt his finger there.
Durand is down and he looks like he's got a bit of injury trouble, as the foul will be called again on Russell Garipi, but it looks like Durand is in some serious pain there with his finger injury there, I think.
Potential dislocation maybe, I'm not sure, with his finger there. Really in a lot of pain. Goes straight over to the physiotherapist in the corner just to possibly help him poke it back into position. I'm not sure, but didn't exactly see what happened there.
Maybe just caught contact with the ball a little bit awkwardly, sometimes can happen. And the substitution to replace him for the time being will be Lloyd, it seems. As Garipi has exit, and Zajankauskas will continue from the inbound.
How old did we say he was? Sorry.
Returning all the way back to that one. Martin tries to put the step back move on Briggs, off with the 3-pointer as Hughes receives the rebound.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup for Briggs, as Martin being the more active one, the quicker one, as Lloyd out for stretching, steps out of bounds. But yeah, Briggs in that matchup with Martin. I don't know if it's the one Kestrels want. They probably want someone like Durand, who's obviously off the court now, maybe a Lloyd or a Hughes to get on that big man who's more active with the ball and sort of tries to work out of the key more than in it, and stretching the bigs isn't necessarily as much what Kestrels want with Briggs out of the paint. So interesting matchup for the Kestrels today. Good block there by Briggs.
Blocked by Briggs, and in transition will be Issa Brandon. He will take the flush, the dunk and the throw down, all of those things at once. And Zajankauskas will try and retain those 2 points with something of his own, tries to put the moves on Hughes, drives on the inside, and he will turn it over. The unmentioned and quite so referenced young player, Zajankauskas.
Being on the younger side, not necessarily going to gym as much, so sort of gets pushed off the ball there. Good shot there by Brandon.
And the Solent Kestrels just easing into this game a little bit, not only pushing their differential, but also just easing into that second half and easing into that lead, because sometimes you can get a little bit complacent with that lead, especially from that halftime break.
Yeah, you can get complacent a lot in games. Now the 15-point lead, although saying that Briggs with his second foul. I don't know if I agree with the call there by the referee. It seems to have his forearm up there, but I'm not sure. Possibly an extra arm, I'm not sure.
And it'll be Smith-White, receives the screen. And the free ball is good. And Aerosol will return it back. Aerosol looks to push the tempo as much as he can when he's out there on the court, as he expects from his teammates. He drives left on Shuiga, finds the layup, and it's good to put the Kestrels 14 points in the league. Zajankauskas will try and now return with something of his own. Gives it to Martin, pump fakes the free. Step back, mid-range is off with the rebound from Issa Brandon. Good tempo here from the Solent Kestrels as Issa Brandon goes coast to coast Lay is off, but Briggs battles for the offensive rebound, doesn't quite find it as he pushes off on Smith-White, but the referee will continue the play. And the kick over to Struiga. Again, a lot of turnovers involved in that play on both sides. Maybe just getting a little bit heated, maybe just getting a little bit overexcited, would you say?
Yeah, I think Stars are getting a bit too eager now to try and close that gap, as we saw with that wayward pass just there, and sort of forcing it a little bit now. 14 points down on the Kestrels. It's difficult to see if they can get back into this in the third quarter with the way things are going, but interesting one for the Kestrels to maintain the lead with this play style, with Briggs marking the big man in Martin as he drives to the basket. Good move. Reverse layup is good.
And a big kick long to Aerosol as he steps back. Drives in on Martin. Kicks it out to Issa Brandon, who pump fakes. On the inside to Hughes. Hughes keeps it in the court.
Just inbound. Just stays inbound there. We did well. Presence of mind to keep on his toes. Briggs lays it up and in. Good spin move there by Brandon. But yeah, Hughes with that presence of mind to stay on his toes, stay in bounds, and just keep the ball alive and the possession alive, and give the Kestrels the 14-point lead that they so desire.
And Wankwo, good free. Not afraid to shoot it so much in this second half are the London All-Stars. As Issa Brandon will hand it over to Lloyd. Good ball movement. And Briggs being pressured hard from Martin, as again another turnover from Briggs. Zajankauskas will bring it all the other way, and a big block, a big chase down block by Briggs. Yeah. And Issa Brandon will bring it the other side. Free at the top of the key, no good.
Yeah, big strong block there by Briggs, and now he's afraid to drive to the big man. Good pump fake, but short from Zajankauskas, but great block there by Briggs. Aerosol a bit overeager with the three, but not bad decision making. But it'll be interesting to see if he bounces back from that miss. Obviously currently has those 13 points to lead the team in scoring, but Briggs with a great defensive play there once again. Zajankauskas comes up with the rebound. It's just a 9-point lead as the Kestrels call a timeout with 3 minutes left in this third quarter.
And the Stars have managed to cut into that lead a little bit, as you mentioned. What do you think the Stars have done? I mean, it's been a very small cut, but sometimes those little slices into that lead to just bring yourself back can just make all the difference. What do you think the Stars have done differently over the past couple minutes in this third quarter that have really worked?
I mean, like you said at the start of the half, that their pressure on Briggs, especially at the start of the second half, has really forced him to some poor turnovers with that part of the passes coming across the key, and sort of forcing bad turnovers from Briggs specifically. But just that pressure and the presence of mind to realise when the ball is worth going for and worth fighting for, and forcing some tough turnovers from the Kestrels.
Do you think the fact that there's a bit of a sellout crowd here at the Solent Sports Complex at Division 2 level, sometimes that's not quite expected? It's all very well organised, the cheerleaders are here. It's been a fantastic day for this double-header. Do you think that might be getting to the London Stars a little bit? Potentially.
I mean, it's definitely a larger crowd than they used to in Division 2. Obviously, this being probably Division 1 level crowd and stadium and support. With the cheerleaders today especially, it might be more difficult for the Stars to overcome the crowd support of the Kestrels. But they've done well in this third quarter to already bridge the gap, just limit the scoring of the Kestrels and bring it back to a 9-point differential.
And as we're nearing the end of this timeout, Solent will be looking to extend their differential, whilst London Stars will be actually trying to cut into it. Maybe they'll try and be a little bit more conservative, the Kestrels, maybe try and take their time. They bring on players like Dawes, like Lloyd. Briggs is taking a rest for this period. Maybe just trying to be a little bit conservative whilst they still have a good lead.
Yeah, I mean, Briggs is on 2 fouls. Griffey's obviously not on the court currently. He's on 3. So I think it's just to try and limit the fouls. I've already committed 3 in this quarter and don't want to send London Stars into the bonus, especially going into the fourth quarter, sorry, and try and limit the number of fouls you have going into the final quarter of the match. There's a great move. Pass there by Brandon Dawes. Hook shot. Just airballs it. Great pass there by Lord. Foul there called on Dawes, blocking foul. his second foul of the game.
I'm just getting a little bit carried away with the foul trouble. As you mentioned, you don't want to be in trouble in the bonus because, of course, all the free throws count. They've got some decent free throw shooters, the London Stars. Just got to be a little bit careful as Zajankauskas looks to find Martin, who's been running the offense quite a lot, but maybe the energy of Dawes will shift that a little bit. Swinged out to Struiga. Struiga will try and find the other Martin. Martin will drive on the right-hand side. Finds it on the inside to Sinkovicius.
Yeah, great cut there by Sinkovicius. I don't know if I mentioned this one as well, also 17 years old, but great cut by the London Star player. Just extra, a bit of energy on the offense by the Stars as of recently. I mean, as you mentioned, Dawes playing good defense there, but just getting overcome by the off-the-ball movement there of the London Stars.
Here's to Brandon. Nice crossover move on Martin as he finds the nice high lay.
Yeah, good extra effort there by the centre of Dawes. I mean, just to find that extra space. Could have got the pass from Brandon, but Brandon went for the lay himself, and probably the right decision there. Being blitzed on the screen doesn't help, and he had a very limited space to do so, as Martin with a great move there sent Dawes one way and went the other. As I mentioned earlier, sent Dawes to the corner shop and got him a bag of crisps and a chocolate bar as well. Great lay there by Martin, showing the extra handles that he has as a big man and using them to get the advantage for his team as Durand comes back onto the court.
Maybe that's also a player that they've been missing. Durand having quite an impact at the beginning of the game in his scoring, and I think something that doesn't get talked about a lot is his off-ball defense, you know, just being an off-ball pest, sticking to the player that he's got to be on. So maybe it might be a little bit more beneficial to bring on a player like that, would you say?
Yeah, I think just his extra motivation as a sort of more of a forward player who can also play as a guard and also a little bit of as a big is kind of that Draymond Green-esque play where he'll constantly play defense no matter who he's guarding and play good offense. He shoots the three just out. Hughes, tries to get the rebound and puts the shot up, can't get the foul. But as we mentioned, off the ball defense there by Durand. Great poke away into the cheerleaders. And
it's positive to see that energy from Durand coming off after that injury. We were a little bit worried that what that might do to him, and you know, he's come on, he's taken a wide open three and he's gone for the steal, didn't quite get it, so quite positive from Durand to see that he moves forward as the referees call a foul for a reach-in on Aerosol, I believe.
Yeah, an interesting call there by the referee. Sort of weird defense there by Andre Aerosol, but I understood what he was going for, where the ball was there to be won and he went to go for it as a smaller guy, sort of Aerosol playing that GP2, Gary Payton second sort of role where he's smaller, having to mark the bigger guy on the switch defense on the screen, and went for the ball, and fair play to him, even though he sent the Stars into the bonus now, and probably not the right decision in hindsight from Aerosol, and now cuts the lead just to 5 and possibly 4 after the second free throw for Martin.
Martin will now look to reduce this to a 4-point differential as this game becomes ever closer in this third quarter. London Stars looking a lot better in this second half. Rebound on the second. It's a 5-point differential, 1:32 left on the clock. So Brandon will kick it over to Andre Aerosol, a bit of off the ball movement looking, nothing happening. Tries to find it. 3-pointer from Aerosol is good.
Another great three there by Aerosol, leading the Kestrels in scoring with 16 points. Also playing great defense here on Zajankauskas, showing why he was DPOY last season, I believe, and just previously as well in general, just being that off-the-ball pest and just playing great defense as a whole. As Durand forced the toss shot out of Martin, Kestrel get the rebound through Brandon as he pushes ahead. Possible carry call could have been made there by the referees. Tough floater there, cool, nonchalant there by Brandon, showing his expertise in the mid-range game. Kestrels bring it back to a 10-point lead.
And just like that, it's gone from, and a foul is going to be called on Aerosol for a foul on Zajankauskas, but I mean, we've gone very, very quickly from what seemed like a little bit of a worrying 4-point lead to now a 10-point lead. Just that transition, that tempo. I mean, in the game of basketball, just switch just like that, move so quickly, and the tempo and the momentum of the game can move so quickly, especially with the impact of players like Durand, like Issa Brandon, like Andre Arisol when they step up to the plate, as we see more rotation going on with Sung coming on. Maybe talk to me a little bit, Riven, about his impact coming into this game.
Yes, Sung, a very quick little guard out of Itchin College. I mean, can shoot the three, can facilitate the big men, and him and Dawes have good link-up play, obviously being Itchin themselves. But I think he can offer that extra pace, and obviously with Grippy, Arisol and Dawes now all being on 3 fouls, mainly Grippy and Arisol as the point guards. He's come on now to be that third string, the fourth string point guard, to offer the extra bit of energy without being in risk of foul trouble and sending the Stars as much onto the line, but more to just offer that something different off the ball and on the ball now with Brandon and Durand.
Dawes will now control it with Sung. Kicks it over to Brandon, who will confidently step up for the free, but doesn't quite make it. An offensive rebound by Gregoire Durand. Multiple offensive rebounds by the Solent Kestrels. He's put the moves on them. Spin move, goes for the tough lay, doesn't quite make it. A scramble for the rebound, but in the end, Zajankauskas grabs it as he looks to go coast to coast. Goes on the right-hand side, and a foul is called. It looks as though the foul will be called on... Did you see who the foul was called on there? I wasn't quite sure who called it, but it was certainly a foul. It will be 2 shots to the line for Zajankauskas.
Sung. Foul called on Sung there. I think would have given it to Brandon as a foul, but again, like we said last week, I'm not a referee. I'm not the one to tell them if they're wrong or right. I'm just here to commentate the game. But yeah, tough one there. Sort of fighting through 2 defensive players. One of them's always going to foul you if you miss the ball, and easy call there for the referees.
Brandon will now continue this fast tempo moving as he tries to get the shot off at the end of the third quarter, and it's off from half court. And that will be the end of the third quarter. A 7-point lead for the Solent Kestrels. Doing little strokes of cuts into that lead are the London Stars, but not quite managing to really make a dent into that differential. Where do you think the Solent Kestrels are going to go from here? I mean, we've seen little bits, we've seen rotational players come on, we've seen Sung, but if we're going to be honest, it's the bigger players that are making the impact. It's players like Briggs, it's players like Durand, it's players like Issa Brandon. Do you think they're going to continue that in that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're the main guys for the Kestrels, and honestly, if they play good defense and play good offense, they're going to lead the team in general. So, I mean, I think it's going to be difficult with Grippy and Arisol on the bench for now. Obviously, being on 3 fouls, don't want to get 2 more. So, I think Brandon's going to have to be the main guy going into the fourth quarter. And with that 7-point lead, probably have to flip to Arisol and Grippy off the bench later in the quarter, and hopefully they don't get into more foul trouble. But yeah, I think, as you said, the main people on the court for Kestrels are probably Briggs and Issa Brandon.
I mean, one of the names that you named that really lit up to me was Russell Grippy. I mean, we've seen very little from him today. He's not had an awful game, but he's only had 4 points. He's had 3 fouls. Of course, they're sitting him on the bench because they don't want to risk that foul trouble even further than they already have, as they are in the bonus currently. Do you think, and he's a player that game to game can give you a lot and then sometimes not very much. Do you think we might see more of him in the fourth quarter?
I think so. As the primary point guard, either him or Issa Brandon could definitely become that main guy for the Kestrels on the ball, but I think it just depends on whether Grippy comes onto the court and whether they want to limit his minutes because of being on 3 fouls. It just depends. So I think being on 3 fouls will get limited minutes, possibly in and out off the bench, depending if he commits another foul or not. But yeah, like you said, I think him, if he can heat up, obviously struggled this match so far, shooting wise, hasn't really taken many shots. I think very limited shots in general, but hasn't really got many of them to go. So it's interesting to see into the fourth quarter.
And the players will now return to the court for this fourth quarter. High expectations from the Solent Sports Complex. We are brought to you from Sonar Events, as the inbound ball will be taken by the London Stars, as Struiga starts us off and will more than likely inbound it over to Zajankauskas. which he does, with Garipi guarding him. And Briggs also returning onto the court with other rotational players like Malloy. And it's a tough lay from Struiga, who returns to the court. And Andre Arasol will bring it up. Again, back to the facilitating from Briggs, gives it to Malloy. Malloy finds that Andre Arasol at the top of the key. He finds Garipi. Now in the post is Briggs. He tries to back down. Good steal from Martin. And it will be pushed up over to Zajankowski, who finds the tough layup. And again, that tempo continuing on to the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Stars trying to push it with just a 3-point lead here for the Kestrels now, trying to put it to him. Arasol, tough three. Don't know if that was the right decision there by Andre, but very tough three there by Andre. But yeah, Stars looking to push the pace and limit the deficit here and try and bring it back into their own game. And I think Isa Brandon being lined as a substitution possibly for Andre Arasol. Was a tough floater there by Smith-White, and just a 1-point lead here for the Kestrels, and a quick timeout in this fourth quarter called by the Kestrels, and having to limit the scoring here for the London Stars.
With only a minute played in this fourth quarter, I mean, I asked you about this when it was about a minute and a half before the half time. Why, maybe talk to me a little bit. What do you think maybe the coach has seen that he's felt the need after that quarter break, after maybe the things that he said? Maybe do you think it's the Kestrels not implementing his game plan going into the fourth quarter?
I think it was more just the poor decision making from the start of the quarter, and sort of only being a minute in, you want to change the momentum. The Stars had the momentum from the off of the fourth quarter, getting the steal, getting the shot to go, and a good layup there by Zajankowskis. But yeah, I think just to stop the momentum and stop the London Stars getting the lead at the end of the match, before the end of the match, and running away with it. I think a timeout at this point in the match would stop that momentum, and hopefully for the Kestrels, they can bring it back into their own hands and get the win in Germany.
And the London Stars first up to step onto the court, maybe just showing that they're more than ready to get this fourth quarter underway, trying to make a statement here. Been some good scoring from the London Stars, as they have brought it down to a 1-point deficit. It's been good scoring, maybe on the defensive end, not the strongest on the interior. But Andre Arasol will now begin with the ball as he kicks it over to Garipi. Garipi will have Zajankowskis on him. Arasol on the right-hand side. Looks up, 11 seconds on the clock. Durand with the ball, over to Briggs. Good ball movement. Briggs will try and drive, he kicks it out. Isa Brandon for free, and it's a nice free taken.
Great ball movement there. Briggs almost forced into a tough layup there, but found the right man. And good defense there by the London Stars as Martin goes up for the lay, but I think partially blocked there by Briggs. Tough layup again, but gets it to go. But yeah, great ball movement there by the Kestrels as Andre Arasol drives to the basket left-handed. Blocking foul called on London Stars. That'll be the first foul called in the fourth quarter.
Rather a lot of blocking fouls and sometimes charges, quite often more called than shooting fouls in those sort of situations and drives. At this level, it seems to be noticed as Garipi receives the ball, goes for the mid-range and is off. And it will be received by Struiga, who just gives it off to Martin. Martin probably doing a little bit of a shimmy with the ball. Zajankowskis pump fakes the free. And Struiga with the free.
We now take the lead in this fourth quarter with 7 minutes 47 to go. Tough one for the Kestrels to take as they're struggling as of late. As Andre Arasol with the float, can't get it to go, claiming a foul, but Zajankowskis goes to the reverse layup and goaltending called. So 2-point automatic going for the London All-Stars. Brandon seems to be caught there on his hand, but interesting one as the Kestrels now 3.0 as they call the horns play. Off the ball to Briggs. Stripped there.
For the ball. Durand at the top of the key. Puts the moves on Smith-White. Tries for the shot and the foul. And you mentioned there the horns play. Talk to me a little bit about what are they trying to achieve when they're setting out that?
Yeah, so there's two variations of the horns. One off the ball screens and one directly passed to one of the horns screen setters. So the horns ultimately is you get 2 screens either side, and either way you go one way and the other one pops out to the 3-point line, create more space for the offense and sort of get another shot from 3-point or more space inside for the big like Briggs. So ultimately there you want Briggs receiving the ball, Andre Aerosol getting the screen from Durand and running, going off the ball towards the basket, cutting towards the basket and receiving the ball again. Couldn't get it to go, but Durand went to the line for 2 free throws anyway.
Durand will now step up for a second free throw. It will be very important to make sure that these free throws are taken advantage of, as he does with the second, and it is now a 1-point game. The Stars having their first lead of the entire game in this 4th quarter. And Martin will now continue to be the main facilitator of the ball as Nwankwo pump fakes the free, but a travel is called on Nwankwo. And turnovers like that will be so important in this 4th quarter when every possession counts. Yeah,
just lifted his pivot foot there. Rookie error there by Nwankwo, showing that inexperience, only being 18. So, yeah, another Horns play called here from Garipi, just to get some ball movement going. Good spin move, looks for the mid-range, just off. Get it to go, and a couple of tough shots here from Andre Aerosol. Struggling here with the final 6 minutes of the game.
Zajankauskas picks it back over to Martin. Good steal by Garipi, and it now is Aerosol trying to go coast to coast. He lays it, no foul called, and that transition play is very strong from Aerosol. You know that the energy that he brings, you know the toughness, the intensity that he brings to each game, and he's showing that to be very important as the game is 69-69. Don't think the Solent Kestrels coach quite agrees with the fact that there was no foul called as we go into this timeout.
Yeah, I mean, probably the right call. It's one of them. He was going for the ball, but I don't know if he made enough contact with Andre. Probably so. Andre's not one to complain about stupid fouls here and there. It was probably the wrong decision by the referee, but again, as we always say, I'm not the referee in this position, they are. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously, technical foul called on the coach for the Kestrels there, stepping out of the coaching area and coming to talk to the referee directly in a rather aggressive manner, you could say.
Well, I certainly think at some point in this season we need to get Riven Corbett as the special guest referee for one of these games. If nothing else, it will save the viewers back at home who are watching this. It will save their ears from hearing that phrase again.
My silence is quite telling. If Basketball England could set that up, they are willing to do so. My experience is rather null and void, but I think I'll stick to my job as a commentator for now.
Again, once again, London All Stars there again. They're the first out on the court. They want to try and show the Solent Kestrels that they are going to win in front of this capacity crowd at the Solent Sports Complex. And Martin will inbound the ball to Struiga, with Aerosol continuing that energy that he does all game. Brandon guarding him. Smith-White with the free is off, and Garipi will now receive that rebound. Bring it over to Durand on the right-hand side. He will look to put the moves on Martin. Aerosol over to Garipi. Good ball movement from the Solent Kestrels. Garipi tries to find Brandon on the cut, doesn't quite find it. You see that turnover got to Garipi a little bit.
Yeah, one of them where backdoor cut was coming, but it was so obvious the ball handler wanted to go, but the one off the ball, Brandon in this case saw it was being covered there by the defenders. Zajankauskas step back three, gets it to go. London Stars now have a 2-point lead, 5 minutes 53 left to go in this game.
Aerosol will now scan the floor. Once again, Briggs is the facilitator at the top of the key, and a foul will be called now on Martin, number 9.
Just his second foul of the game, actually, but however, the London Stars now are on 3 fouls in the quarter, so it does mean 2 more, and the Solent Kestrels will go into the bonus heading into the last 5 minutes.
And Brandon will inbound the ball now to Briggs at the top of the key. Finds Brandon on the inside in the low post on Struiga. Makes the bucket, count it, and the foul.
Good spin move there by Isa Brandon. Just baiting the defenders come back across and baiting the foul from Struiga as he gets his 3rd foul of the game. And sort of changing the momentum flow, and Kestrels could go into the lead if this free throw is good by Isa Brandon. Just 19 points in this game, sort of heating up when Garippi and Aerosol were on the bench, so taking over as lead scorer of the Kestrels now.
Isa Brandon will line up for what is to be the most important free throw of the game so far, and it is off. An attempted rebound, but it will go over to the London Stars.
Contested rebound there. Kestrels unlucky to get it go. Durant holding his hand again. Interesting whether it's just a muscle stretch or something just hurting just that tad, or caught his finger, I'm not sure.
And Wankwo in the corner on the right-hand side tries to find Martin on the inside, and Aerosol will now bring it in transition, and a foul, another foul called on the London Stars. And that will be their 4th foul, if I am speaking correctly.
Yeah, one more and it sends them into the bonus. Aerosol trying to bait the shooting foul, sorry, 5th foul, sorry, so they are in the bonus now. Aerosol will get an uncontested free throw, and now every foul he will go to the line, no matter how many fouls individual players are on. Kestrels will be sent to the line for 2 free throws. Even if Aerosol there did try and bait the shooting foul and almost got the 3-pointer to go, but it does give Kestrels an advantage going into the last 5 minutes, with the Kestrels not having committed any fouls in this final quarter. As Malloy comes on for Briggs.
Of course, you want your big men on the court in big moments towards the end of the game, but also you probably want to prioritise, as you see Briggs come off, you want to prioritise those players who could make those free throws. You want to take advantage. Any sort of foul is going to now go to the free throw line as Aerosol misses it. And again, we're talking about that opportunity to take that shot and to take those free throws. And if it means that the Kestrels have to take off their bigger men to bring on players that are going to make those free throws, do you think that's a decision that the coach is going to be willing to make?
Yeah, just to push the pace a little bit and bait the fouls on the fast break. Because Aerosol missed that 2nd free throw as well, but they can force the fouls from the Stars on the fast break and send them to the line every single time. They will struggle defensively with 2 bigs on the floor as Brandon and Malloy collapse to cover the extra big man in. Foul called there on Durant for his 1st foul of the game.
It'll be an inbound pass over to Zajankauskas as they will now try to look. I imagine the London Stars will look for quick and easy buckets, try and take that lead and then be able to focus on their defense. There's good offensive movement, off-ball movement from Zajankauskas. Martin kicks over to Zajankauskas, as we said, in the corner. Zajankauskas goes up for the mid-range shot, and again, his off-ball movement just allowing himself to get open as Aerosol brings it on the left-hand side. Good crossover, goes up for the layover, and Wankwo and a rebound. No foul called. Martin kicks it over to Zajankauskas, goes for the lay and misses. Again, the tempo speeding up even more further as we get deeper into this 4th quarter. Kicks it out. Aerosol, his 3-pointer off. A attempted rebound by Malloy, not quite there. And Isa Brandon so close to getting that steal off of Martin and just doesn't quite collect it there.
Yeah, just unlucky there. And Aerosol unlucky to get the 3-pointer to go there. Very unlucky. And as we saw, the lay was a tough move. Great layup, but just a bit too long. Just getting around that defender as he was going up, putting a bit too much on it from the finger roll, and just getting very unlucky there. 2-point differential going into the final 4.5 minutes. And Kestrels, although momentum not necessarily going their way, the tempo constantly changing, fast to slow, fast to slow. So interesting how they react to this.
Zajankauskas will now start from the inbound from Martin with Andre Aerosol guarding him. The switch over with Isa Brandon. Martin trying to put the moves on Durant. It's good defense from Durant. Martin kicks it over to Zajankauskas, 8 on the clock. Zajankauskas finds Smith-White. A soft lay rolls out of the rim. And now Isa Brandon will come the other way. Struiga looks for the charge, nothing called either way. And Andre Aerosol will collect the offensive rebound from the Isa Brandon shot and will make it. And now it's back to a level game, and defensive possessions are going to be so important for the Solent Kestrels.
Yeah, an interesting call there by the referee. Struiga trying to claim the charge, but no blocking foul called, and defense has been strong there by the Kestrels the previous possession, and stopping the inside scoring of Martin and Smith White, as Martin on this left-hand side into Brandon. Unlucky to get the block there from Smith White's lay, and they have London Stars have a 2-point lead into the final 3 minutes of this game.
Malloy over to Garippi. Garippi triangle on the left side on Stream. Mid-range shot is off, but he collects his own shot. He collects the rebound for his own shot. Issa Brandon with the 3-point shot off. And again, Nwankwo with the rebound. So important has he been for those defensive rebounds as Martin now brings up the court. These possessions are going to be so important. Malloy guarding him. Out to Zajankauskas, over to Smith White. His 3-pointer, looks for the dagger, no good. Andre Arisol with the rebound with 2:45 left on the clock. And Garippi will now have Martin guarding him, kicks over to the left to Durand. Durand will drive on Nwankwo. The lay, foul is called on Nwankwo, and he will go to the line for 2. Just talk to me a little bit about that passage of play that you saw, Ribbon.
Yeah, interesting passage of play to say the least. I mean, Issa Brandon important to shift over to create the space inside for Durand to drive to the basket, bait the foul from the help defender and force him into a contested shot, but obviously baiting the foul from the defender. And important free throws here from Durand. His first one is good, but it's a very quick passage of play. Missed shots here, missed shots there for both teams. Forcing threes, forcing mid-range shots like we saw for Garippi. Still struggling from the field, but important free throws here for the Kestrels, obviously being 1 point down and 2 minutes 36 left on the clock. It'd be interesting how they react to if this free throw goes in from Greg Durand. It does.
Second one's good.
Tie game.
Martin's now inbound, 2:36 left on the clock. Every second will now count. 75-75, fourth quarter in this Solent Sports Complex. Garippi will now be guarding. Zajankauskas switches the ball over to Nwankwo. Martin at the top of the key with Durand guarding him. Martin drives on Briggs, and it's a block from Briggs, an important block in this stage of the game. Coast to coast, and now kicks over to Garippi. Garippi on the inside to Durand, and now the Kestrels will slow down their offense with 15 seconds on the shot clock. Over to Brandon, behind the back move with Smith White guarding him, and the hurt shot, no good. And Briggs will fight for that rebound, but doesn't quite get it as Zajankauskas will begin this offense. And every defensive possession does not need to be said again, but every defensive possession very important. Struiga kicks on the inside to Smith White, but it is nearly intercepted by Issa Brandon, but doesn't quite get there.
Yeah, very fast-paced game, tie game, 1:46 left. Arisol on that last position, rightly aggravated by the lack of ball movement there. Brandon unlucky to get the hook shot, but forced himself into a difficult hook shot as Nwankwo is currently open, but double team there. 3-pointer, just long. Garippi comes up with the rebound.
Strong rebound by Garippi. And he will now pass it over to Arisol on the left-hand side. Durand will fake the pump fake. He goes up, blocked by Nwankwo. That'll be a big block, and now Smith White will go down the other side, kicks over to Zajankauskas. Off on the layup from the defense, and a clear foul from Issa Brandon. And the London Stars will go to the line for 2. Smith White holding on to his face.
Yeah, good foul there by Brandon, just to force Smith White to go to the line on an easy, close-range shot, just to force him to the line. Extra pressure onto him with 1:20 to left, and obviously the team only on 2 fouls. Kestrels needs to make sure they use their bonus situation to their advantage. Go to the line, bait more fouls, because at the moment they're not using it to their best and full ability. 2 fouls on the board for them means they can afford to commit a couple more fouls before sending the London Stars to the bonus. A very interesting final few minutes of the game. Very contested, with Zajankauskas becoming more of a facilitator. Obviously 18 points on the board, more points than his age. Don't know if we mentioned that earlier, but only 17 years old. But yeah, very important final few quarters here from Zajankauskas just to get his team going.
Smith White will now line up for the first free throw. And he makes it. That'll be a big deal for the London Stars as he steps up for his second. Will be so important to the London Stars to just get that advantage, to put the pressure on the Solent Kestrels to come back the other way and make sense of their offensive possessions. Off on the second rebound, and Aerosol will look to just slow down the tempo and just get a good offensive setting now. Brandon over to Durand, over to Aerosol, bounce pass over to Garippi. Fakes the mid-range shot. Aerosol pump fakes the free. He drives on the inside. A tough layup. No foul called. And the Kestrels will take the 1-point lead. London Stars need a timeout. And how important is that tough layup for the Kestrels going to be?
Yeah, strong layup by Aerosol, setting the tone and setting his team and getting the momentum into the final few minutes, forcing the London Stars into a timeout. I mean, going into the last few minutes, they're in the lead with potential 3-4 more possessions left in the game. You'd hope for the Kestrels side that they limit the turnovers and hopefully off that layup itself sort of carry the momentum towards the end of the match.
And in a tight game situation, what do you think? Try and see the perspective from both coaches. What do you think the coaches are going to be saying to their players right now?
I mean, the London Stars coach will most likely be talking to his players, drawing up plays for the next possession as they will have the ball, and sort of get an early bucket and flip the momentum the other way, because at the end of the day it's game of momentum, and as soon as it switches back to your team, you've then got the handicap over the other team. So if they can get a quick bucket through the London Stars here now, then that will head them into the final minute in the lead, and for them, they will want to ride that wave till the final possession of the match, into the lead and win the match.
Just the last few preparations from both sides. London Stars not quite so quick to come out onto the court this time. Maybe that last layup from Andre Aerosol with 1 minute and 3 seconds left on the clock may have sparked a little bit of reality into them. Here at the Solent Sports Complex, a packed out capacity crowd, and that kind of advantage that's going to bring for the Solent Kestrels being at home. 1 point left. There's a tough timeout in a tough moment. It's going to be hard for the London Stars to come back from this.
Yeah, the crowd have been very reactive this game, and constantly on the Kestrels' back, whether it be the wrong or the right decision, but they'll be in support if they make the right decision and sort of motivate them into the correct passes, the correct shots. When they make a bucket, they react quickly. As you can hear them now sort of welcome their team back in, and Tom over the tannoy sort of trying to get the audience back into the game.
Zajankauskas will receive on the inbound. 12 seconds left on the shot clock. Over to Smith-White. Smith-White. And a travel is called on Smith-White. And what an important turnover that's going to be for the Solent Kestrels. Yeah. 24 seconds on their shot clock. They're going to want to take time on this possession.
Yeah, correct decision by the referee. Just lifting a pivot foot, and Andre Aerosol dribbling up the court, wants to either make a quick bucket of it or just dribble it out to Garippi. Tough three from deep. It's off. I don't know if that was the right decision there. Good defense. Brandon
hustle from Brandon.
Diving for the ball, but can't get it to go. And now it's a 3-on-3 drive to the basket. Thought about the three from Wankwo, but Martin with the ball at the top.
Martin will now slow it down with Aerosol with tight defense on him. Martin will go up, no good on the lay, and now it'll be transition. It'll be Aerosol, bring it the other way. Durand clearly fouled, and no, and one. The free throws will come. Bonfire might have been a couple weeks ago, but Durand is here with the bombs, and he's here for the free throws, and it will be a Kestrels free throw to try and extend the lead to a 2-possession game. 18 seconds left on the clock. A big moment for the Solent Kestrels here at the Sports Complex.
Yeah, I mean, great transition layup, great positional play by Aerosol to keep his head up and give the ball directly to Durand. Thought about dunking it, but right decision there to lay it up and in, and now 3-point lead with free throws to come for Durand, and should just be the one free throw for Durand, as he did make the layup. Originally thought it was 2, but I think it's just the one. As the referees have a conversation saying it's only going to be 1 free throw, as he did make the layup, but he's claiming that it was possibly an unsportsmanlike, but I'm not sure if it would carry forward, but 18 seconds left in the game. Durand, if he makes this, it's a 2-possession game. If he misses it, it's only just 1 possession with a possible 3-pointer. You look at the squad depth for the Stars with the 3-point prowess they do have. You hope for the Kestrels that Durand does make this. And he
Durand
does.
is good
Great
from the line.
free throw there by Durand, and because it was an unsportsmanlike foul, it will be an inbound ball for the Kestrels, and they'll receive the ball with 4 points, a 4-point differential heading into the last 18 seconds.
And the Stars want to immediately foul as soon as the ball is inbounded. Tries to find Briggs and a turnover. And with 16.9 seconds left on the clock, that's probably the worst outcome for the Solent Kestrels at this stage in the game.
Yeah, I mean, not the right pass, just couldn't get it to go, and find Briggs and couldn't catch the ball in general. I mean, tough one to take for the Kestrels. They take a timeout. 16 seconds left as I had my head in my hands there. Yeah, right decision there. Briggs just couldn't catch it. I don't know if the pass was just ahead of him. I couldn't see from where we stood, but tough one to take for Briggs and Garippi there. I mean, the Kestrels as a whole would want that they make an easy bucket of that, and it's a 6-point game, but it's just how they take the match into the final 16 seconds. We see the London Stars drawing up a play on the classic whiteboard and pen.
It'll be so important for the London Stars. As soon as they inbound the ball, they've got to get a quick 3, or maybe even go for the quick 2. If it's wide open, they've got to do it. I mean, at Division 2 level, not to bring down our own players and not to bring down the players at Division 2 level, because this is, of course, quite a high standard. But you're probably more willing at this level to risk the players missing those free throws and maybe go for that 2.
Yeah, I think you've got to force them into a 2. I mean, the London Stars would probably look to a 2 first, then the 3 or the 2 again, because it being a 4-point game, you'd probably want 2 2s, not a 3, and force a foul, because obviously the Kestrels being in the bonus, as soon as the London Stars give the ball away, they'd want to foul straight away, send it to the line and force it to be a 4-point game if they were to miss the free throws. But if I'm the London Stars, I look to a quick 2 and force the Kestrels into some free throws with 16 seconds left on the clock.
Striga will now begin the inbound, probably the biggest play of the game so far. It will be so important. 3 seconds separate the shot clock from the game clock. So every second of this fourth quarter, of the remainder of this fourth quarter, matters. A slight delay on the beginning, and we are about to get underway for this inbound. It's going to be a big deal if the London Stars can find any sort of bucket at this stage, preferably if there's going to be a shot, not foul it, but put tight defense on it at the same time, just a bit of balance.
Screen set here for Zajankowski, is full there for, I believe, Malloy. Foul called on Brandon.
And potentially you could maybe say Nwankwo's decision making was a little bit wrong there, because even though there was a player behind him and a player coming onto him, he had the possibility of being the taller player and using that reach that he has. He could have just gone up to the bucket and just tried to go for that initial one.
The right decision there was to go for the shot, but now he's forcing the Kestrels into possibly making it a two-point game and a 1-possession game. You see Aerosol talking to him, trying to get into his head and force him to miss the free throws here. I mean, if you're the Kestrels here, you take both free throws as is and hope he doesn't make both of them, but he makes one. It's a 1-possession game. You have to try and dribble it out and be forced to the line as he makes the first one. Smith-White with 17 points in this game.
Smith-White has been accurate from that free throw line as well, so it's been quite positive for the London Stars that he's the one who's been to step up for this free throw. And this will be a big free throw. If he makes this, it will keep it at a 1-possession game, and only 2 points will be needed. It will be off, but the offensive rebound by Martin, and a big offensive rebound play. The second chance points reduces the deficit to 1 point. 11.6 left on the clock. Now everything is on the next free throws that we're about to see. The Kestrels have got to get it to a player who can take those free throws confidently. Who do you think that's going to be? And do you think that that's going to be something that they can make?
I think as long as they stick with their 5 they did have on and have all like that 4-3-4 guard lineup on the court, they'll hopefully continue making free throws, because if you get sent to the line, make 2, it's the three-point game and force the London Stars into a tough three, but you'd hope to dribble out as long as possible before you get sent to the line and then extend the lead with as little time left on the clock as possible. But if you miss those free throws, all it takes is a London Stars layup and they've won the game. So, as we said, the Kestrels, fortunate not to be in the bonus, or to be fair, they've probably played it well enough that they're not in the bonus. But as we said, every foul committed by the London Stars now will send the Kestrels to the free throw line.
I imagine that the game plan from the coach will be get the ball to somebody who feels confident enough to step up and take those free throws. And I think there is plenty of players on that Kestrels team who are strong enough and are capable to step up to the plate on that occasion. I think players like Russell Garippi could do so, Gregoire Durand, Andre Arasol, Issa Brandon, any of those four players more than capable of taking that opportunity. And it will be Issa Brandon to inbound, so more than likely we'll be seeing Garippi, Durand or Arasol step up to the plate. The inbound over to Arasol, but a good defensive possession from Strand, and it will go the Kestrels' way.
Interesting call there, Bryfer. I couldn't see it clearly from my position, but it was a close call. Struger definitely put up a big fight of whether he did touch him or not. Struger and Arasol having a bit of after talking. Screens coming here for Garippi and Arasol. Garippi with the inbound, who we fouled straight away and sent to the line.
Zajankowski also on 4 fouls now. Probably want to be careful about who's actually making these fouls as well, as he is 1 foul away from being fouled out, and Garippi will step up to the plate for 2 free throws. And Garippi will miss his first free throw. And regardless if he made both, it would be a 1-possession game, but it would alter the way that the London All-Stars would approach their next possession. And I do believe that the London Stars do have timeouts.
Not specifically sure. As Garippi's second free throw is good.
Free throw is good. And it makes it a 2-point game. And substitutions will now come on. It does not seem as though the London Stars have any timeouts, so they will need to lock up. The Solent Kestrels will need to lock up. They will need to maintain that they can be as tight as possible, but also not give up a cheap score. Martin will bring it down. 6 seconds left in the clock. 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Martin all the way, tries to go for the layup, and the foul is called. And Martin will go to the line with 1.7 left on the clock. And everything will be on him to make these 2 free throws, it seems.
I'm not specifically sure if that was a foul. I think it was in the shooting motion, so we sent to the line. But Embiid style drive into the basket there. Sort of fell on the floor. Whether it was a foul or not specifically sure, but definitely made it cinematic, even staying on the floor and asking for some help up. But it seemed like the defenders there had their arms up straight, and it seemed like they were trying to stay out of trouble. It would be interesting if he makes both free throws here. He's not even going to the free throw line. It wasn't called in the shooting motion, so he won't be in the free throw. He's going to, yes, it will be the shooting motion. So he is going to the line. Sorry.
I think you can quite safely say about these free throws is the case that if he does not make both of these free throws, it's relatively safe to say that the Solent Kestrels have won this.
Yes, but I won't want to jinx it too much.
No, of course not. No.
For all we know, Martin can make both of these free throws. He tries to do a reverse psychology
Could
commentary.
also be a rebound, yeah. Of course,
yeah, he could possibly rebound off the second one. To see interesting how he goes if he misses the first one, which
first
he doesn't.
one is good.
Even louder, Kestrels family, even louder.
And the Solent Sports Complex will be rocking to see if Martin can make his second free throw.
1.7 left on the clock, so if he does miss it, he'll be forced into a quick bucket from the Kestrels.
Big
Second
shot.
one
It's
is good. No timeouts
no
here for the
timeouts.
Kestrels.
1.7 left on the clock. Arasol from the half court, no good, and it looks as though
Ladies and gents, that means stay in your seats.
We're going to go for overtime.
81
as we have
to
to
81.
stay here.
5 minutes of basketball.
5 more minutes to come.
What part of you was convinced that Andre Aerosol might have done it there for a second?
Yeah, for a
Your
thought.
face. I
Well,
saw that.
considering from the side, I had no belief in it whatsoever, but it started edging closer to the basket, and that hope got me, I think. Yeah, 5 more minutes of basketball, 5 more minutes without my dinner. So thank you, Martin. I really appreciate you, mate. But yeah, not ideal when double header like this. All I've eaten is squashies this afternoon, and you the same. So cheers, Martin. But you know, each to their own.
We cannot, just to point out, as we are presented by Sonar Events, so we cannot give sponsorship credit to squashies. So
other sweets brands are available from your local corner shop, or even down on the table courtside today. But 5 more minutes of basketball, woohoo! 5 more minutes of basketball to see if this Kestrels can come out with the win. As you see some people emptying their seats, obviously younger viewers, it might be even past Zajankowski's bedtime, I'm not sure. It is just gone 8 o'clock. His mum might want him back for some 8 o'clock TV, I'm not sure, before he goes to bed, but we'll have to see. Very interesting last 5 minutes of basketball to come. Stay with us for an interesting overtime.
And the first overtime of this season, what do you think that's going to do to the Kestrels?
Yeah, it's an interesting one with the Stars having the momentum here. It's going to be a difficult one to take, definitely. I think the only overtime I've seen this season is, I think it was an under-14 or under-12 game here. And the Kestrels, that game, obviously it was a completely different game because it's the youth basketball team, but that time they came out with quite strong winners, dominating that overtime. But ultimately, I think if they just stay headstrong, I mean, fouls may become an issue, but I'm not sure. 5 minutes of basketball to come.
Issa Brandon will now inbound the ball to Andre Aerosol as we get underway this overtime period. Off-ball movement from Garippi with Zajankowski on him. It will be received by Issa Brandon with the good lay. And once again, Issa Brandon taking advantage of the gap in the defence as Zajankowski will now look to return the favour. Struiger hands it over to Zajankowski. A lot of pressure on the young shoulders as he puts it over to Struiger. 7 left on the clock. Martin, Aerosol guarding him. He takes the mid-range shot. It is no good with Briggs receiving that rebound. It looks like their first option's going to be the youngster, Zajankowski, moving on the offense.
Yeah, Zajankowski is definitely having to be the main guy for them scoring-wise, but Aerosol playing great defense there on Martin, despite being the smaller guy and showing why he's a great defender. Briggs goes to the dunk and almost hits the ceiling off the rim, but unlucky for that one to go. If he kept it simple, it's a 4-point lead for the Kestrels, but step back 3 there by Martin, sorry. Aerosol push ahead, lay, just too strong, but fouled. He'll go to the line, shooting foul called.
And it looks like once again, I mean, we've mentioned this nearly every single time a quarter has begun, but the tempo once again, you've got to be careful in these overtimes because you want to make sure that each shot that you take is very important, each shot is efficient, but also you want to maintain that tempo because you want to make quick buckets with quick transition defense.
Yeah, I mean, you want to be quick, you want to be efficient, and Aerosol just rubbing off those cobwebs from the previous missed free throws and sort of shrugging it off and making those 2. Important 2, making it a 4-point lead coming in to the final few minutes of this overtime.
Zajankowski will receive a screen from Martin, hits it over to Struiger, who finds Zajankowski driving on Garippi, kicks it out to Nwankwo with the free, and it's a big free.
The youth of London Stars coming the beneficiary here with Zajankowskis and the likes of Smith-White and Nwankwo as he pokes it away. Part carry there by Nwankwo. As I call it before the referee makes the call, which may suggest I should become a referee in future, Sam. Very, very confident of me to claim the carry before the referee called it, but I would argue there I made it before the referee. So
We're moving away from your refereeing credentials. Aerosol will now drive on, and Wankwo fakes the mid-range shot, and it was a beautiful little shimmy to find himself on the inside. 3-point lead to the Solent Kestrels. 3 minutes left on the clock. Martin will now bring the ball up. Kicks it in the corner to Nwankwo. Off on the 3-point shot, and Struiga will now go up. Nonchalant with the lay, but doesn't quite make it. And Aerosol will now kick it all the way to the other side. And Durand will use his size over Zajankowski to find the 2. And it's a 5-point lead. Kestrels getting a stronghold here on the game in the Solent Sports Complex.
Yeah, strong few possessions there by Solent Kestrels. Caught by the 3, travel call. 2 turnovers there by Nwankwo, and the inexperience coming into play. If I hadn't already mentioned, he is 18. So, if anything, that inexperience coming to play here and sort of lifting that pivot foot and not being completely focused, sort of making the wrong decision. He's carried the ball on an easy layup or dunk on the fast break, and now that silly little turnover there on the travel.
Aerosol will now find Briggs on the inside, doesn't quite get it. Aerosol receives it again. The energy from Aerosol, the left-hand lay, and it will be a 7-point game as the London Stars need a timeout. And the Kestrels have come out here to really take this overtime seriously. Yeah,
Andre Aerosol becoming the main man for Solent Kestrels. We were saying earlier, who's going to step up, who's going to do it in that fourth quarter, and in this overtime period, he is being that man. 28 points on the match and sort of becoming the main man for Solent Kestrels today.
The only thing that I would say that I have noticed is maybe a little bit, and you could look to the London Stars as well. London Stars have got 2 players who are on 4 fouls, and Wankwo and Zajankowski. They're both on 4 fouls. Do you think you want to be conservative when you're going up to the rim, but also you want to protect the rim?
Yeah, I think for them to calm it down a little bit, the inexperience, possibly, as I said, with Wankwo coming into play, and interested to see whether they get too overeager if they see the ball possibly going up for the block. But it's interesting to see how they view the final few minutes. The coach might be saying to calm it down, don't foul, excuse me, and sort of maybe scoring many points, but on Wankwo, especially 2 turnovers in the last few minutes, and clearly not being the most level-headed man on the court, as Zajankowski actually comes back onto the court, staying on the court, and so does Wankwo, staying with the 5 and trusting in his players to make the right decisions despite being down 7. And after that Andre Aerosol flurry, the London Stars hope to hit back straight away and stop the scoring of Aerosol, who's sort of kept it calm in this overtime period and fed off the energy of the crowd and scored at will.
And now the inbound over to Struiga as he hands it over to Zajankowski. 2 minutes, 9 seconds left on the clock as he moves it over to Martin. As we know, Martin will look to put the moves on the outside on Durand. As he scans the floor, looks for the off-ball movement. And Zajankowski with the step back, the nice move on Andre Aerosol, but is off with the 3, and Aerosol will scan the floor, knows to take his time, knows to eat up the clock, and knows that the Kestrels are leading by 7 points. Swings it over to Garippi on the right-hand side. Garippi back over to Aerosol as he looks to receive a screen on the left-hand side by Briggs. Kicks it out to Garippi, 6 seconds left on the clock. Briggs fakes the mid-range shot, but takes it and is off with the mid-range shot. The hustle by Malloy doesn't quite get to the ball, and the Stars are going to want to, with 1 minute and 28 seconds left on the clock. They're going to want to take advantage of the shots that they have.
Yeah, 3-possession game. They're going to look to try and force fouls from the Kestrels and try and get the 3 ball going, possibly to bridge the gap a little bit. Martin's being marked very well by Durand, clamping them up left, right and centre, and forcing the turnover. Grippy gets the interception and gets the steal and slows it down, wait for a big man to come up, and Durand thinks about the 3 but calms it down. Level-headed, Briggs in the middle, defended by 2. Hook shot after the spin move is good. Call his man, a small man, and leaves him 1 after the tight little move from the spin. Malloy tightly marks Zajankowski. Can't get the 3-pointer to go.
47 seconds now left on the clock. Solent Kestrels with a 9-point lead now will just look to eat up as much time as possible. And Wankwo is now guarding Aerosol. Nice move on Striad. And he goes up for the lay, but it is the foul. No basket. He will go to the line for 2. And Aerosol will look to put his scoring to a 30-point as he is down on the floor.
Curious here. Do you reckon that was a lob to Briggs, or do you think he meant to lay that?
I think he meant to lay that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think he would claim a lob, but to the referee, he claim a lay, so he goes to the free throw line. But personally, it was definitely a lay. Because if it was a lob, it was a great lob to Briggs. So
it was a fantastic lob, yeah.
But just couldn't get the layup to go, but did bait the two fouls. Sorry, the fouls to go to the free throw line twice as Lisa Brandon looks to come on for Briggs. Small lineup for the Kestrels.
Just maybe looking to get steals when they can to just intercept and just stop any sort of play. But maybe London Stars might look to take advantage of that. Of course, you need to do some ball movement to work the ball inside, which does eat up time, but maybe just maybe London Stars will react to that more small ball from Kestrels by pushing it on the inside as Aerosol misses the first free throw.
I'd like to send out an appreciation message to Briggs, considering he did just come back from his marriage and possible honeymoon for the last few weeks. So good shift from him today, 14 points, good rebounds there, good marking. Aerosol's second free throw is good.
And Martin will inbound the ball and receive it back with Malloy on him. They will look to get a quick bucket, the London Stars. The three-pointer from long range, no good. And Wankwo with the rebound, and he makes the bucket. Probably too little too late as Aerosol brings it down the court. No foul called. And Aerosol will look to just dribble the ball out, gives it to Issa Brandon, gives it to Durand. 11 seconds left on the clock. And the Solent Kestrels, in overtime, despite the fight back from the London Stars, have grabbed the win. The Solent Sports Complex absolutely rallied together by their win. A tough, tightly contested game between 4th and 5th in today's doubleheader. A fantastic end to the game. Riven, they must be absolutely buzzing with that result.
Yeah, feeding off the energy from Andre Aerosol, leading them into the final few minutes. Good scoring ability, and I think his pure energy from the final section of the match definitely helped them.
Absolutely. Well, it's going to be so important for the Solent Sports Complex for this win, as it looks like I will be heading down for the post-match conversation with Josh. So we will move on to that into that in just a second. We will be with you very, very shortly.
Yeah, I mean, great, as you said, Sam, great match, great tussle between the tightly contested teams, and Kestrels coming out the victors today. I mean, strong opposition, strong performance, and obviously it had to be done in overtime, but great performance from the Kestrels. See Andre Aerosol speaking to the camera, giving a bit of afters, saying to the camera that he is the man. He has led the Kestrels today to that win. The overtime performance from Andre Aerosol proving vital today as they come out 94 to 86 point winners in this very, very packed Solent Sports Complex. As we see the cheerleaders of the Solent Ravens themselves taking a picture after the match. Kestrels feeding off of that win and having a chat with each other and feeding off the energy, and hopefully take that into the next few weeks of matches, push up the table after the tough loss last week in another tightly contested match, and just the one loss this season in the league for the Kestrels, and hope for them to keep it that way. And now I believe 6-1 in the league, and for them try and push ahead to prevent next few matches. Obviously beating tough opposition today, as I go down to the guys downstairs. Josh, courtside, over to you, mate.
And it is an overtime win for the Solent Kestrels against the London Stars. It's a great win for the Kestrels, and I'm joined by their head coach. Matt, what do you think about the win?
Well, firstly, I'm really pleased that we got the win. There was some times where the game looked like it was getting away from us, and even when we thought we had it won, London Stars did a great job, and they were able to get it to overtime. So just relieved that we were able to get the win at home today.
Now, it was DeAndre Iverson, so in overtime he really took over. 29 points. What did you think of his performance?
With Dre, he's played at the highest level. He's a big game player, when we needed him, especially in that overtime period, he was able to make plays and do a great job defensively as well.
And speaking of players, Briggs made a huge impact with his boards, and he was sort of the man who picked your team up, getting those boards, those rebounds that turned into offensive possessions. What was his impact for the team?
London Stars have some big players as well. So Ash was critical today. His size, his presence on the inside, and he did a great job for us today.
And lastly, a double-header today. We obviously had the women playing earlier. Just tell me a little about the crowd today, because it's really loud here. We had the cheerleaders. It was some spectacle.
Yeah, it was a fantastic game day experience today. It was like I say, a near sellout crowd. The cheerleaders were back. It was a really good effort for basketball at this level.
Thank you very much for your time, Matt, and that's all we've got time for. Thank you.
Thank you.